All right, guys, welcome to part 3 of our video series. In this video, we're going to cover once that we have created our flat surface in After Effects and importing the project into Cinema 4D and make our first object. Now the rest of the job is to make the rest of the objects. Let me go ahead and close this because I think this is not meant to be here. Okay, and again, once you have the first kind of middle path that we have here, the rest of it should be relatively easy. So I'm gonna go ahead and start creating around this object. So I'm gonna create a duplicate out of this first. And again, especially do this with your display on wireframe and lines so that you only see the lines of our objects. So I'm gonna go ahead and Control D to duplicate. Oh, I don't know if that worked. Control D. Oh, Control D does not work. Let's go Control C, Control V. And this is the second object, and we're going to go ahead and move it somewhere over here. Okay, and we're going to make it roughly the right size and right up against the edge. Now, this is where we want to split our view into two views so that we can see it better. So I'm going to go to Panel and have it in two views. Oh, not view two, sorry. Let's go two side by side. Okay, so we have our main camera, and then we have our object right here, so we got to see it in 3D space. So again, I'm going to try and make this much taller. So under Object, I'm going to go into the height and probably make it about twice as high. So let's go ahead and click on this and change this to, let's say, 200. So it's twice as high. But remember that the pivot's in the middle, so I probably have to move it about 50 units higher. So this is going to be like using the 9 here. Move the cursor to the left of the 9, and you can kind of hit up. Okay, that should be 5, right? And everything should be nice whole numbers. So if you look at our original path, it was 1922. So I don't know what the exact number is, but I'm going to go ahead and shrink this first. Let's go ahead and go to the width, which is the X right here. And I want to make it significantly smaller. This thing is probably like 300 or something. Oh, wrong way. I'm going to leave that pretty long. I'm going to make this around 300, the X. So maybe less than that. Let's go like 100. Okay, much better. Let's go ahead and move it. And you can see right here, it's starting to kind of match up with the lines. So it looks pretty good in size. It looks like I can move it a little bit more to the right, something like that. Get it right on the rail right there. And that means I can make this one a little bit more wider and maybe a little bit to the right so that it matches up a little bit better. So let's give it a nice whole number first. So let's give it, let's say, round it to 65 here. Okay, and I'm going to make this thing a little bit longer and a little bit to the right. So I'm going to grab that middle path, and I'm going to make it a little bit more to the right and make it a little bit longer. So my length right now is 990. Let's say 994. Right, and I'm going to move it a little bit to the right. So going to the X value here and moving it to the right. And then making sure it's just edge to edge. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in here. Not quite edge to edge yet. So I'm going to go right here and move it a little bit more to the right. Until it's just edge to edge. That looks good. Okay, and the, let's see, let's go back to my path right here. And that looks like it's edge to edge. I can use perspective view here as well. So again, you can go to view and go to view 1 or something. Oh, this is already view 1. Let's go back to side by side, and let's switch this to, what camera do I want? I want to use, where is it? Perspective here. And kind of take a look at it in 3D space and make sure that it really is edge to edge. Looks like it. Maybe. Looks like it. Let's see if I can see a gap. So if I go to my option or my display and go back to shading, you can see that it's not quite edge to edge. It's like maybe a gap, a little bit gap in there. So I'm going to go into my path and maybe move it in one. Okay, and now you don't see a gap, and it's nice and looks solid, right? That looks good. Looks good here. Now I'm going to need to make it a little bit shorter. So because we don't want to go all the way, we want to go only up to this wall. So this is going to be only up to like here. I'm going to go ahead and make this less long. So I'm going to go into my Z value here and make it, let's say, I don't know, 60 units shorter or something. So let's just go down here. So I was at 1900, so it looks like more than that. It looks like I'm going to go down to like 1400 or something. So if I moved it 1400, that's 500. So I need to move it up 250. So I'm just kind of doing some mental math to make my life a little bit easier when I am shifting this stuff. But it should shift right on there. Again, this perspective view, looking at this. And if I click off it, it should not look like there's anything there, right? Looks good there, okay. All right, so not quite. Looks like I'm not quite short enough. I need to go a little bit short. You want your vanishing point to be right about there. So it looks like I need to go a little bit shorter. So again, under the Z, you can look right here how long it is, Z, and go down even more. Let's see. Yep, it's rendering in the background. Okay, let's go ahead and let's go this way. Okay, I moved it another 20 or so. Go back to my coordinates, go to Z, and move it up just right there. And look, the vanishing point now is good, right? So once I have that, I'm going to go ahead and create another duplicate here. So I'm going to go ahead and rename this right planter. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and duplicate it and create the back wall, nice and big. So I'm just going to do Control-C, Control-V, and I'm going to move it over. I'm going to move it over. Like I'm moving it over. Looks like I'm scaling it. Must have the scale tool on. Move tool. Huh, that's weird. I don't know why it's scaling. Let's just go ahead and use my, again, I'm not sure why widgets are the way they are, but you can just move it by hand. So let's go ahead and make it way taller first. So I'm going to go into the Y value and it doesn't be too tall, just enough so that it goes up to our top of our screen. And then go into our coordinate system, go into our Y. Okay, and we'll move it back. So in the Z position, move it to the back. I mean, I can sit here and do math, but I'm too lazy to do math. Something like that. It's okay if it goes a little bit beyond, as long as that is touching just at the right point. So right here, it looks like it's edge to edge. If I left click out, looks like it's edge to edge. Now I just need to move it down a little bit. So I'm going to go into my Y position. And let's see how many down I need to go. And does that look good? Looks like a little bit more. And a little bit more. Makes sense that I'm at 0, right? And that looks good. Looks like it's all lining up nice and pretty. Okay. So now I'm just going to duplicate these and move it to the other side, assuming that the walls are symmetrical. Now, as we've talked about in class, it's not so important that your walls are nice and straight. is that it matches the perspective of the camera shot. So you can see here the wall is slightly tilted a little bit. So maybe we'll tilt it a little bit to the right to kind of match it. Okay, but let's go ahead and create our other walls first. So let's go here and here. And I'm going to duplicate, Control Copy and Control V. Okay, and this is going to be the right arch. Let's go ahead and rename that real quick. And let's go ahead and rename this one and move it to the other side. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on there and get it moved just right. I'm assuming it's going to be a whole number. So I'm going to go 0. And it looks like I'm not quite there. Looks like a slightly small gap there. So I'm going to move it, looks like one more in the X. There we go. Now it looks like it's nice and flat. If I click off it, I don't see any gaps there. That's good. Okay, and then I'm going to call this one the left planter. Take the copy I made over here, and let's move it over, something like that. The height I'll need to adjust. I just need to adjust the, if I could see it. Thank you. Okay, if I can just move it a hair. So let's go and make it a nice whole number here. And it looks like I need to move it. Looks like this side is slightly different than this side. So this side, it looks like I need to go a little bit further to the left. So I need to actually adjust a little bit more. Okay, so before I do this, let's go ahead and just back. Let's go back to this one. It looks like this one needs to be moved a little bit more to the left. Again, what matters is that it's not everything is nice and straight to the world. It's that it matches the perspective of this. So I'll need to make this a little bit bigger. So again, in the X value, so I'm going to go here. And okay, if it collides a little bit here, so I don't really care if it collides over. Right? So now I'm a little bit over, but that's better than under. Right? And it's matching my perspective much better here. So that looks much better. This one looks like it's a little bit longer. You can see here that it's a little bit longer. So it looks like I need to move it a little bit more forward. Something like that. Okay, and this is fine as long as I don't place anything in this corner, right? That should be fine, that it's overlapping a little bit. So as long as this one matches, so that if I put anything on top of here to have the correct shadows. Okay, and this one, now this one actually might be good where it is, because you do, looks like this have a little bit of an overhang in the back. I'm not quite sure. Do I want to have a little bit of overhang? Looks like there's a little bit of overhang on the inside. So actually I do want to kind of overhang a little bit to the right over here. So under coordinate, turn this into a nice whole number. Let's go ahead and use that whole number and move it maybe an inch that way. A couple of centimeters that way. And make the object just a slightly bit thicker. So I'm going to make it a slightly bit thicker. Something like that. Maybe one more. Okay. Make sure that it matches exactly here. So when I click off, I don't recognize anything. Nothing seriously noticeable, right? So there's a little bit of a wall there, right? So let's go ahead and create the back now. So I just need to create one from the back and make it really tall. So I'm actually going to create a duplicate of this one. Control C, Control V. Control C, Control V. Grab that middle path, move it back here somewhere, make it really tall. So how tall are my other planters, or my other walls? My other walls were 1,700 high. So this one, let's make it also 1700 high. Okay, let's move it up. See, now I'm not even moving. Now I'm like scaling. Maybe there's a move tool that I'm not unaware of. Let's see, move tool E. Nope, I'm scaling. I don't know. I don't know why it's doing that. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to object and just go ahead and move it. Maybe if I move it now. Nope. Okay, all right, that's fine. I'll just do it by hand. Let's go ahead and move it up. Okay, let's see if I'm nice and close here. It looks like I'm 1 unit too high. Let's go down 1 unit. Now I'm gonna make it much thinner. So I don't need to make it that thick. So let's go 100. Why did it go that way? That was weird. Oh, I'm moving it. Right, right. I want to make it over here. I want to make it 100 thick, not 100 in direction. Not that. 100. There we go. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and move it in just as it touches the back wall, wherever that is. So again, I'm trying to look at my vanishing point. And it looks like my wall should be somewhere over here. And there's a big gaping hole here. Right? Because you look again, look at my vanishing point, right? My vanishing point should be right here somewhere. Okay, so that's where I need it to vanish, right there. So now I'm gonna go ahead and grab this thing and probably make it bigger now. So I'm gonna grab it in the middle somewhere here, my middle path, and then go into the Z. And again, it's okay if we go a little bit to the back, it doesn't really matter there. What matters is that it's long enough, right? So let's go into the Z. Let's go over here and let's get it just long enough and push it just a little bit back. Let me make it a nice whole number here. And I'm zooming in here. And I'm just going to move it further back. Something like that. I don't know what those two objects are. What are those objects? Oh, it's just these. I don't even know what I need them for. I don't even need them for anything. I guess I can delete them. I don't know what they're for. That one, that one, that one. I don't know. Let's see if I can go to, let's go ahead and see if I can like disable it too. And what's this? Is a camera object or something? I don't want anything rendering here. I'm not sure what exactly this thing is. I wonder if I can just hide everything. There we go. Okay, there we go. Besides camera 1, everything else is off. Okay. So, all right. So we got this, we got this, we got this, we got this, we got this. So it looks like all the vanishing points are starting to look good. Right, and that looks good. That looks like a good vanishing point. Okay, so now we're going to make this planter on the side in case we put it on the corner. So I'm just going to create a duplicate of this one. It's going to rename some stuff real quick. This is going to be my left arch. And this is going to be my back wall. Okay, I'm going to make 2 more, and then that's going to finish all the surfaces that we are going to use. So I'm going to Control C, Control V, move it out here, and make it 100 deep now. So I'm going to change this to 100. But I'm going to make it much more wider. So X, I don't know, it looks like at least 500 or so. Just estimating here. Just make sure that I have enough. And let's go ahead and move it. Okay, go over here, move it just up there, and now I'm going to need a little bit more fine tuning here. Let's make that a whole number. And then make this a whole number. Okay, and go in there and move it a little bit more forward. So it's nice and flush. Not quite flush yet, and not quite in enough. So it looks like there's a little bit of a gap. So I want to move it a little bit more to the left. There we go. And move it a little bit more to the front. There we go. And look, perfect. Okay, and does it match my perspective lines? Not quite. You can see right here that I probably need to make it a little bit thicker or move everything a little bit more backwards. I probably need to make it a little bit thicker. So I need to go right here real quick. Instead of 100, let's make it 110. And that looks good. And if I move it a hair to the front, should be looking like it matches our perspective lines. Then let's go back to our coordinates and just make that a nice round number. And then click off and see it's probably needs to move a little bit more back. One more unit backwards in the Z direction. And there you go. So now it matches our perspective much better. And now I can go ahead and create one for the other side. So let's go ahead and take this one. Rename it real quick. This is going to be our right planter 2. Let's go ahead and duplicate this, Control C, Control V. Move the other one to the other side. I think I'm grabbing the wrong widget, which is what I'm happening. I grabbed the black widget, which is a scale tool. And now I just got to match the perspective here. Move it forward. Looks good from there. Let's get it fine-tuned here. Okay, this one might not to be as long as the other one. Let's go into our object, or let's go into our coordinate and move it up real quick, make it a nice round number. And it looks like I need to move it further away, something like that, maybe like that. And it looks like I need to move it like a hair closer. Make this a nice whole number first. And that might actually done it. And looks good. Looks good there, looks good there, looks good there, looks good there. And there we go, guys. We have created all the surfaces that we want to capture shadows or cast shadows onto our objects. Now, if you really want to do decorations on the back, you can make walls to the side, walls to the side, walls on the back, if you really want to have decorations that hang on here or something like that. But if you're only putting stuff on my walkway or my planters, I think we're good. I think we have all the surfaces we need. And that will end part 3 of our video. And I'll see you guys in the next one.